I swore I'd never be that woman. You know the one. The cliché, the homewrecker in a Lifetime movie. The whisper at a family BBQ. I judged her. I pitied her. I built my entire moral identity on not being her. But the day I became my sister's husband's mistress, I understood why she was. And that understanding was a kind of hell. My sister, Gwen, she is sunlight, effortlessly beautiful, the kind of person who enters a room and the air changes. Her husband, David, was her perfect complement, steady, successful, the handsome foundation to her brilliant light. Their marriage was our family's benchmark, the golden standard. What my own shaky relationships were measured against and found wanting. I was the quiet one, the reliable sister. The artist who painted other people's dreams while mine stayed safely, timidly, on the canvas. I lived in the gentle shadow of their radiance, and for a long time, I was content there. It was safe. The crack appeared on a Tuesday, a mundane, terrible Tuesday. Gwen called me, her voice not the usual champagne bubble, but flat, hollow. David's working late, again. Can you come over? I don't want to be alone. I found her in their pristine, cold kitchen, staring at a glass of wine she hadn't touched. The story spilled out in fragmented, bruised sentences, the distance, the missed anniversaries. The emotional silence that had grown between them, vast and frigid. She felt like a trophy on a shelf, she said, admired, but never touched. He says he loves me, she whispered, a single tear tracing a pot she wouldn't let herself fully cry. But I don't think he sees me anymore. Not the real me. My heart broke for her. I held her. I raged with her. I became her confidant, her war council of one. And that was my first fatal mistake. I stepped into the space David had vacated. David started reaching out to me. How is she today, Alara? What can I do? He was desperate, clueless. Our texts began as logistical coordinating surprise gifts for Gwen, planning a weekend to reconnect them. Then they evolved. He shared his frustration, his fear of failing her. I shared my worrying for my sister. Our shared mission to fix Gwen's happiness created an intimate, secret alliance. We became co-conspirators in her well-being. The first time we met alone to plan her birthday surprise was in a quiet corner of a bookstore cafe. He looked tired, vulnerable, not the imposing, successful David, but a man adrift. He said something that shattered my world. She's so much like your mother. Brilliant, but needing a constant audience? Sometimes I just want a quiet moment with someone who doesn't need to shine. He was describing my mother's narcissism. A truth our family never spoke, and he saw it. He saw the burden Gwen could be, a burden I had spent a lifetime soothing, making space for, eclipsing myself for. He saw me, that was the seed, the recognition. In his eyes, I wasn't the shadow, I was the solid ground. It was a drug, the forbidden, intoxicating drug of being truly seen by the one person who was supposed to see only her. The betrayal didn't begin with a kiss, it began with a secret understanding. A glance across the Thanksgiving table that lasted a second too long, heavy with a truth Gwen couldn't perceive. It was in the text that now ended with sleep well, instead of talk tomorrow. It was in the electric, guilty awareness that hummed between us in my sister's own living room. The physical act, when it came months later, was almost an afterthought. A storm that had been brewing in silent skies. He did come to my apartment to drop off a painting. He decommissioned a portrait of Gwen, ironically. A final, desperate gift. It was raining. We stood by the window, and the silence wasn't about my sister anymore. It was about the canyon of desire between us. He touched my cheek, a gesture of heartbreaking tenderness. I'm so tired of being the villain in her story, he breathed. You're not the villain in mine, I heard myself say. And that was it. The line vanished. Afterwards, the guilt was a physical sickness. I vomited. I scrubbed my skin raw. I looked at my face in the mirror and didn't recognize the woman, the cliché staring back. But beneath the nausea was a terrifying clarity. I finally understood that woman. It wasn't about malice. It wasn't about stealing. It was about a famine of the soul so deep you lines drink poison just to feel quenched. It was about living in someone else's story for so long that you lines burn down the narrative, even if it's your own family's, just to have a page of your own. I had become the architect of my family's ruin, and for the first time in my life, I felt powerfully, horribly real. We were careful, paranoid. Our affair was a ghost existing only in the spaces between their life. Lunch hours, late-night emails from fake accounts. A secret compartment in my heart turned into a vault. But ghosts leave a chill. Gwen started noticing. Not the evidence, but the atmosphere. You're distant, she told me one day, her head on my shoulder, still trusting me. And David's, lighter. Did you talk to him? Whatever you said, thank you. The irony was a knife twist. Our betrayal was healing their marriage. My sacrifice was making him a better husband to her. I was the unseen medication, the dirty secret making their world bright again. The suspense wasn't about getting caught. It was about watching my own sanity unravel, thread by thread, as I played the devoted sister by day and the secret lover by night. It was hearing David whisper my name in the dark and knowing he'd whisper hers with the same mouth hours later. The breaking point was a pregnancy test. Not mine, Gwen's. She was radiant. The sunlight was back, full force. David held her, his face a masterpiece of joy. And in his eyes, when they met mine over her head, I saw it, relief, a door closing, a choice made. His family was beginning. The affair was now an inconvenient, dangerous secret from a darker time. I was no longer the solid ground. I was the fault line that needed to be sealed shut. He ended it with a text, one line, for the sake of everyone, especially the baby. This has to be the end. I love my family, my family. Not ours, his. I was cast back into the shadow, but now it was polluted, haunted by my own ghost. This is where we meet in the ruins of our own choices, where the worst versions of ourselves tell their stories, not for forgiveness, but for understanding. Welcome to Light After Dark. This is a sanctuary for the confessions that scorch your throat on the way out. For the truths that live in the silent space after a lie. We don't trade in simple judgments here. We explore the devastating human complexity of the choices that define us. If you are drawn to the raw, unvarnished truth of human frailty and the fragile path back from the brink, you are not alone. You belong here. Subscribe and tap the bell. Because the most important stories aren't found in the light of good deeds, but often in the painful, illuminating darkness we must walk through to find ourselves again. I haven't told her. Some secrets are landmines you bury deep within yourself, and you spend your life carefully avoiding the ground they're in. I love my future niece or nephew. I plaster on a smile that feels like a death mask at family gatherings. I watch David's hand on her belly, a gesture that once belonged to me in secret, now belonging to her in truth. I am forever that woman, the cliché. The sister, the villain in a story I helped write. But I understand her now, and that understanding is my life sentence. It is the quiet, enduring suspense of waiting for my own conscience to finally break me, or for time to mercifully fade the colors of my own guilt. I swore I'd never be her, and in becoming her, I lost every part of myself I ever swore to protect.